Welcome to Sith Talk, brought to you by Gattacara and Lanyard, bringing you news from Star Wars The Old Republic and beyond. Join us now as we explore the universe and take down the Republic in a galaxy not so far away.
I was going to say another exciting episode of Sith Talk, and maybe I got the finger lead wrong or something.
No, I was waving at everybody. Hello. Okay. You want to do it again?
Okay. No, it's cool. We're recording on this Freedom Day week or Labor Day week in the real world. Freedom Day, if SWTOR would have caught on to the ability to latch in-game holidays in on real-world holidays that have been helpful. I guess Freedom Day would have been more like 4th of July, but it's a derivation made based on your locality more than anything else. Lanyard and I have had a rather rough week. Those of you who may have seen some of our Facebook posts, Lanyard has been in the midst of moving to his new location all week long, so he is quite haggard, could not take the time to enjoy the holiday, unfortunately. Myself, I've been bedridden with an illness from hell, and am just now making a final recovery and still somewhat in the wings on that one. A light, very, very light news week thanks to SWTOR. And, of course, there's been no patch notes. Even though we delayed the damn show a day, they still pushed maintenance a day because apparently they took the day off and had a hangover today and couldn't get their newest bit of maintenance out on time, which kind of sucks for us. However, no worries. We do have information to cover with you guys. I myself had a fair week of gameplay. Lanyard not so much, but Pseudo was nice enough to make sure that she covered us with having a new episode of The Librarian. She's almost done with this book, guys, so for those of you who aren't really big on listening to her read, sigh for relief. She may have another book. I don't know what else she has in store, what she's going to do next. But we want to make sure, since we're talking about Pseudo and her ability to read, God knows we love people reading to us so that we don't have to learn, as apparently our YouTubers believe. Mm-hmm. We got to make sure we touch base with our primary sponsor, which is audibletrial.com/Sith Talk, where for 30 days you get a free walk around with Audible Trials. Yep, there goes Kit Kat in the background. You get a free 30 days of Audible to look around, check it out, and as well as getting a free book if you choose to. Go for the full membership. You, for $15 a month, can get a free book every month. Great discounts on any book of your choosing. And, of course, you throw a little bit back into our purse, which hopefully will eventually at some point keep the wheels on the bus. For now, Lanyard has been keeping the wheels on this bus in the hopes that I get my promotion, and I then take over putting the wheels on this bus. And we want to thank him for that.
And then it's your turn.
I don't know if he's pointing to me or the viewers. But, we always have a little bit of extra stuff here and there. We did see some news that came up from Star Wars this week, but because Lanyard's week was so incredibly short, we'll go ahead and we'll go with that. Lanyard.
Well, like you said, like we've said, it was really short. I got 2 days worth of running. I ran on Zuzu all this week. Didn't get very far, and of course, as you guys might have remembered, I wasn't going to take Zuzu off the fleet. I was just going to do flashpoints and war zones and space battles. Well, since they nerfed the hell out of space battle XP, that's just a complete waste of time. 5 minutes, 300 experience points. I mean, that's not going to get you nowhere. Right. So I'm not doing those anymore. I am kind of, because I can still get like if I get enough of the credits, I can get the modifiable belt and bracers, which is cheaper than buying the ones for Legacy. So I'm still working on that slowly. So she'll have that when she hits 50. But she's 28 now, so I've gotten a whole 2 levels. And finally took her off planet, and then actually last night, because I had insomnia really bad, I got up at about 2 o'clock in the morning and ran till 5 this morning, and just caught up on her quest storyline, which of course, since I was so over leveled it, I didn't get squat for experience except for when I turned it in.
Right.
So I'm off. I did Balmora. I did Nar Shaddaa. Now I'm supposed to head back to. I just got told. Zuzu's my Inquisitor.
Mm-hmm.
She's my Marilenian Inquisitor. And I just got told that by some ghost of some dude that claims he's my father. He just told me that that Zash is looking to, backstab you and blah 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 blah. So now I'm gonna go back to Korriban and chat with Zash apparently. So that's where I left off this morning. That's it. I did a bunch of flashpoints at her level. So Kadamimu, Aethys, I finally got Aethys done, so I'm out of that one. And the other one, Mandalorian Raiders. So that's it. That's it. And the rest of my week has been personal stuff, driving back and forth to Spokane, and moving into my new apartment. I got my office set up. I just went grocery shopping today, spent $300 on a freezer full of food. I mean, food's so expensive. But that's it. That's all I've done, man. It's your turn.
Oh, shit. Lob me the softball. Damn. All right. Well, as I said, I was sick as a dog. Somehow still managed to get almost my full prerequisited 20 hours of gaming in, even though I spent 3 days completely on my back. I started off the week kind of strong. I told everybody that. No, not yet. I still haven't even got the call back.
You were talking about laying on your back. I thought maybe you got to be.
Yeah, no one would pay me for that. I'm too much of a fat bastard. I told you guys last week that I blew up a video card, got the okay for it to be returned, put it all on UPS, so now my video card's on its way. But in lieu of having a proper video card, I still am playing, and I've had some fun. I told you guys on the last episode I would be pushing to get to 40, and hopefully the wife would catch up, so that I could make the bounds to the last 10 level run towards 50. Unfortunately, when I hit 40, the wife gave me dirty looks. So thanks to that aggro, I went ahead and just kept pushing towards getting my other characters leveled up. But while I was on my Republic, on my Trooper, I actually had a little fun. Got to run Maelstrom Prison, I want to say it's called. And that one was actually a ton of fun. The bosses actually required some thought, which I'm not used to. We've run a lot of instances at lower levels, and none of them required any thought. Maybe once or twice a boss would enrage because you didn't hit him or you didn't interrupt something. But I'm going to have to give it to the pubs, man. Running Maelstrom Prison, the last, I think, 2 bosses on that actually require a fair amount of thought, if not a lot of skating. Not to mention the fact that I got an awesome fucking drop.
Yeah?
Well, at the end of Maelstrom Prison, we took down was the fucking ugly dipshit that we actually communicate with on the Imperial side for the Black Talon mission.
Moff Kildren.
Grand Moff Kildren, yeah. Well, Grand Moff Kildren is in Maelstrom, comes to Maelstrom Prison to stop us from releasing who we end up knowing as Revan from prison, obviously. Excuse me. And one of the drops is it's kind of nominal, but it's a riding mount, which I didn't see
that's right.
leveling up.
Yeah.
Which brought me to the first 3 people that I was throwing down as my heroes of the week. Hanukkah, Kratos, and Panzer Can 1 were in my group. I'm playing at low frame rate, so they had to deal with a little bit of me catching up to where they were visually, assuming all of them were running high end. So it was a combination of having to learn that fight, be able to know when, okay, move in on, Grand Moff, and that way he, drops his flashbang or whatever and then runs away further. And it was just a fun battle. It was a good group. If there was something that we didn't quite understand, someone else went, "Hey, dude, come over here." We did have a couple of miss pulls where someone jumped in or went the wrong direction and pulled some extra shit or stood too far back. And it wasn't a lot of, bitching and fighting. It was a lot of communications like, "It's totally cool, dude. Part of the game is learning. Part of being in an MMO is showing others how things work." And it was very good conversation all the way through that run. And, of course, that, once again, was on the pub side. I was on my trooper. But nonetheless, a ton of fun. And I got into some PvP, had some great PvP matches. I'm not real happy with the speed at which Hot Chocolate heals right now, but he's only got 3 major spells. He's not too far up the tree. I think I just got him to 20 recently, so he doesn't have like uber fast heals. He has big heals, but they're not fast by any measure. And of course, because he's nowhere near 40, he doesn't have an AoE heal as of yet.
You need some haste.
Yeah. Need some alacrity. But I did get into quite a bit of PvP, both on Hot Chocolate and then a little bit more on. Oh, there goes the cat knocking over all the wife's shit. There he is, looking happy as can be. Let me get in the window.
Well, he's going to go.
He's going to hide. There you go. Go on. There you go, kid. My little bantha. But I was playing on Boot Jalokia and was having a ton of PvP fun. Boot got to score quite a few hut balls, although she did not get any votes, which made me sad. It's really fun too. I didn't expect, because she's playing Sentinel, which is the Imperial's Marauder. I didn't expect that to be as much fun as it is. I don't see myself, and I guess I'll have to talk to one of our guildies about how to what rotation would be liable to put out the most damage, because I'm not seeing the damage numbers that I saw. Kiwi put out in most of our PvP matches with him.
You can always for PvP.
Yeah. But I had a kind of an LFG, I guess, shout out, which was Tyrion. We were PvPing together when I was on Boot, so once again it was pub side. Tyrion was really good because he and I were the only two that were communicating enough to make sure that our team won.
Right.
Like, of course, the remainder of the team was over there keeping the other team off balance, but he and I were the ones that were actually focused on, hey, I'm here. I'm on the second tier. Look up, look above the flame pit. Look above this spot. And it was very direct communication. He was making sure that if I was in the pit in front of their goal, that I knew where he was on the other side. It was cool because I'm not used to people recognizing the cross route. Most people, you group up on the ball and you all run together. With me and him, if I took the low road, he went to take the high road, and as soon as if he thought I was close to dying, he'd call out and I'd get the ball to him.
Yeah. That's one thing about that hut ball. There's 2 ways to do it. If you're not going to communicate, you run in a pack.
Yeah.
But if you communicate, man, you can have that ball flying all over the place and keep them so off balance.
And we kept him out of the middle, too, because what would happen is when he went to run the ball in, I would back off and stick right, find a healer to stick on me, and I'd stay right at the podium.
Yeah.
So there was never a point where we lost control of the center on that match, and it was a very quick, 6-point run. Didn't get. I think we got like Dauntless. I want to say Dauntless 2 or Dauntless 3. So it was a very quick match and a lot of fun. And Tyrion was the reason for that. Nice. I want to say Boot was part of it, but I always give credit where credit's due.
Right.
And of course, I got on to Rakat, and I tried to do some dailies on him while I was trying to recoup from my cold, and that didn't work. I was on him for. I think I did Ilum. I did Ilum.
Yeah.
Then I passed the fuck out. But I've been focusing predominantly on Boot. Boot is now 19 as of right before the show.
Congratulations.
And Thank you. I was hoping to get her to 20 before we started recording, but nevertheless, she's 19. And what my expectation now is I want to get everybody. I want to have Boot, Karen, Hot, and Gazini all to about 25 before I start leveling any one of them.
So you want to kind of go
further.
I'm
trying to get the 4 of them going at the same time. I want to have a whole group going to 50 at the same time.
You got them each work in their own professions then, so you can kind of keep each other. I just broke my desk.
I've picked up quite a few professions because the wife's not always playing on her artifice all the time, and she's already got her artifice maxed out. She's not so much focused on getting the purples like I like to do for my alts. So I've got purple sabers and clothes and things of that nature on Boot, and I'm working to get a purple set together for level 13 or 15 area for Karen when I start leveling up on her. Still haven't decided whether or not, because of the LFG issues, whether I'm going to go with the idea of strictly healing or strictly damage, because if I do strictly healing, then I don't have to worry about the LFG fuck up where it cues me as a healer whether I'm DPS or not. Mm-hmm. Or if I go strictly damage, if I'm just going to go PvP because I don't want to deal with the LFG issue. I haven't really made a decision on that. Now, when I was, was I on hot chocolate? I'm trying to remember. You know what? I made one on here. I thought it was an Imperial. I thought it was on the Imperial side, but I want to say I thought it was on the pub side, but I want to say it was Imperial. I was on hot chocolate healing, and the imp side. When I logged in on hot chocolate, I seen a lot of crying in chat about things that aren't working quite right, and how the game's losing this or somebody's losing that. A lot more trolling going on in general chat. It seems that it had been in previous weeks, which is starting to piss me off. Not that I don't enjoy a good troll, but 90% of it now is, sadly, it's either politically based or it's, oh, this game sucks. Like because everybody who's on the servers now, they're pretty much all diehard Star Wars fans. Yeah. They're all the people that were writing Galaxies until they shut off the servers. They want to play Star Wars. Yeah. So we got someone who was trolling chat in our group. Mm-hmm. And, I see we got into, what was it? Is it Aethys? Hammer Station. We got into Hammer Station, I think it was. And we get 2, maybe 3 pools in. I've got a droid that has been CC'd on, over here. I've marked them. So I said, hey, I'm going to CC this one, throw the mark up, CC the droid. Tank jumps into the other side, so he doesn't touch my CC, and then he jumps straight into the CC droid.
Was it 8-inch saber?
No. I don't remember his name.
I've ran with him twice, and he doesn't understand the concept of CC.
There's a lot of them that don't. But it was more the issue of the guy wanted to see if we, he wanted to wipe us, because quite literally the third person, the last person here for my LFG heroes, is actually the reason. It actually told me that he'd been trolling in chat for a while. He's a complete douchebag. He's not even a tank. He's DPS. He's just been queuing that way because he's pissed off the LFG system's broken, or it's not working appropriately, I should say. I guess that would entail possibly broken. But we get into the run and it's not smooth. Somebody died, but the vast majority of the group survived. I went to res him, and he said, "You guys fucking fail. Fuck you guys," and he left group. And I was like, "You got to be shitting me, because we're gonna be waiting for a take for a while, mm-hmm. Even if the LFG screws up and we don't get an appropriate take." And well, the other DPS leaves, and I tell this guy, while there were 3 of us, I was like, "Listen, it's nothing but a couple of strongs here, a couple of strongs there. We can do this. Why don't we just go ahead and pull up to the boss, and we'll chill out, wait for a tank while we go to the boss?" Well, the second DPS leaves. And I'm like, oh, fuck, you got to be kidding me.
Here we go. Might as well just bail now, yeah.
And the other guy goes, hey, pull out your comp. Let's see if we can do this.
Yeah, just format it, yeah, shit. Okay.
So he pulls out this dude pulled out, he was a consular, an Inquisitor. So he pulls out his tank, and I'm on hot, so I pull out my Kaleo, and we literally. I mean, it took a little bit more time, yes, than if we would have had the appropriate.
Take your time, a little bit at a time. Yep.
But in the meanwhile, we got all the way through it. The very last boss was quite a pain in the ass because it was a lot of pulling my companion back and forth and him doing the same. Being cognizant of when we had to pull our companions back and keep them out of the little AOE effect.
Because they'll just stand there and take it.
Right. Yeah. And because of my dude being so low level, his energy burns up in a heartbeat. He's got maybe 7 or 8 heals before he's completely shit out of luck.
Yeah.
But that it still worked. So to Tarjave, I want to say thank you. That's cool. TARJA apostrophe VAE Tarjave.
Nice.
That dude, we got through an entire fucking run with a combination of CC and common sense. No boss made us his bitch, and we were fine. So to the guys who left our group that day, you can suck my nuts. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Hot chocolate says you get a steaming bag of froth. But those are my LFG heroes this week. Let's see. Yes.
Well, the one guy that I do remember, a couple things I do remember about this week now. I ran twice with a guy named 8-Inch Saber, which at first I was like, dude, come on, that's just, And then I got to thinking about it. I was like, I wouldn't be proud of that. I mean, an 8-inch saber. I mean, most of them are like 3 feet long, and a dual saber 6. So if you've only got an 8-incher, man, that's embarrassing. I'm sorry,
Saber.
I mean, you got to be like right in. It's like a dagger saber, But anyway, he doesn't understand CC. He understands CC because I kept telling him, hey, I CC'd that. I know the sniper broke it. And you'd watch. He's one of the Jedi guys.
Yeah.
And he would, not Jedi, one of the Juggernaut.
Okay.
And so he would do the spin slam thing, right? As damage. But the problem is that's an AoE, so it busts CC. And I tried to explain that to him, but whatever. So the thing is, we got through it, but I just stopped CCing shit. I'm like, fine, you want to... The healer's just like sweating freaking bullets trying to keep him alive, but it worked. We ran with him twice. He's not a bad guy. He just didn't... there's some of the concepts he didn't quite get, that some of his damage was AoE, and he didn't understand that. But and then of course there was the PvP, where I was on Zuzu, and some little Nululi was in this. It was that hut ball that I come into, and it's already 2-0, and I was like, oh, that's gonna suck. And then you guys just camped us right there. We couldn't even get out of our goal line. I actually, in a long time, I actually rage quit on that. I was like, fuck it, I'm out of here. So
yeah. Sorry guys, like I said, I'm still recovering from my cough. I'm trying to hit the mute button when I can, but sometimes fingers aren't that fast. But yeah, actually, I had a lot of fun. I did a lot of PvP on Olani. Found out that her charge works just like every other charge for a tank. So I'm able, I think it's cooler because when you run up, it not only looks, you do this like heroic leap, and then you just gun butt somebody and then you walk past them. It was fucking awesome. But I was listening to Lanyard. He's flipping out because the last game he'd been in, he was in a group full of retards and nobody knew anything. He's like, well, fuck it, I'm just going to hang out here because why should I go and die because no one else is? Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's happened a lot this week. Like I said, we're leveling a lot of characters. So as we're leveling, you have some groups where everybody is balls to the wall. They're going at it. No one's taking a break. They're just like, fuck it, let's pummel these assholes. Yep. And you have some great, epic, enjoyable matches. And then you have some amazing failures where people are literally just like, oh, well, we can't seem to get them off that node, so fuck it. We're just going to all get some defender points.
We're all going to make s'mores over here at this post.
At that node, yeah. And there's legitimately a few times where I've seen where the enemy is so bored that they're like, okay, well, where is everyone? And they'll actually try to get the third node just to get the match over with, or just so they can get some fighting points in.
Yeah.
And
the problem is a lot of these guys are going in just for their PvP experience, the experience points, those free experience. And because you can just lose 2 matches, they just go in and jerk off, get their 2, and get their experience points, and that's the only 2 PvPs they do all day. Unfortunately, I kept getting into those groups. I was like, man.
Yeah, and then the hut ball we got into, I was telling Lanyard, oh man, this is a fucking great hut ball. We're just owning this shit. We were up 2-0 when you got in.
Yeah.
And then as I was playing, like Lanyard got in there and I saw Zuzu and I was like, oh look at this, I'm gonna make this girl my bitch. And he's like, son of a bitch.
And I almost had your ass until all your friends showed up.
Yes. Yep, and then the other I saw him a couple more times, but there were so many people. Literally, we didn't take over the center field. We eventually got to the point that he was right, more or less. Once we got the 2 points, their team couldn't figure out what they were doing wrong. They were getting camped in the pit in front of their spawn. They were getting camped underneath their spawn, and there were people trying to launch into your spawn at one point.
I literally could not get out of our own goal line. It was just like, this is absolute bullshit. So I was like, fuck it. I'm not dealing with this crap. And so then I went into another fail.
But it was epic from our side because I've been on the receiving side of that type of an ass whooping, and it hasn't been since the 50s where we were all together with the 50s in the PvP matches. Yeah. But that, because back when you got into with the 50s, you were fucked. They had every spell, every knockback, and you couldn't do it. Yeah. And in this match, it was a lot of like 20s, 25s, and we're just hammering away. And, you said that up until that match, you had pretty much had Imperial versus Imperial matches. Yep. And you were like, do you ever get to play against the pubs? And, or do you guys play against the Imperials? And sure enough, he spawns into the worst match he possibly could.
Horrible.
And he's like, well, fuck it. I'm going to go smoke a cigarette.
I smoked a couple. I was like, that's it. I'm done with this shit. Well, fuck this shit. And then I came back a little later and jumped into, I think it was an Alderaan War, and it was another, what are you guys fucking doing? It was another 3-cap in the first couple minutes. I was like, really? Come on. Yeah. What the fuck? And then they're bitching at me because I don't have PvP gear.
Yeah.
Like me showing up with PvP gear is going to turn this match.
Well, I highly doubt that having the PvP gear, at certain tier points, because until you get the expertise, there's really nothing in the PvP gear to make it worthwhile having, other than the fact that in some cases it looks cool, and in other cases it's just nice to level with.
Yeah, it's a nice match set.
Now, once again, I did keep my eyes open and found our guild name of the week. We're going with the Slave Dancers Union over on the pub side.
Awesome.
I have been keeping my eyes open and looking for more and more guild names, but it is a little on the arduous side from time to time. I don't find anything good. Other times I find something that's really epic, but I can't catch up to them to get it spelt right. And Slave Dancers Union was easy sauce, so I did that. At this point, we'll go ahead and let Lanyard queue up Pseudo and let her get her 2 bits in before we break into what I will refer to, I guess, as the news.
Okay.
Hello everyone, this is Pseudo, the Galactic Librarian, continuing this week with Chapter 3. The Maasai had died on the mountain. Corson had left at dawn with 3 bearers, the healthiest of the Maasai, each passing around the remaining air canister. It hadn't lasted, and neither had they. Whatever it was on this planet that didn't like Maasai existed up above as well as below. It was just as well, Corson thought, leaving the blood-colored corpses where they fell. He couldn't run Maasai. They were plain and obedient warriors, but they answered to force, not words. A good Sith captain needed to use both, but Corson leaned more on the latter. It had made for a good career. Not down the mountain, though. Things were going to get worse. They already had. It had been cold in the night, chillier than he expected from what seemed like an oceanic climate. Some of the heavily injured had failed from exposure or from lack of medical care. Later, some kind of animal, Gloyd described it to him as a six-legged mammal, half-mouthed, bolted from her burrow and tore into one of the injured. It took 5 exhausted sentries to slay the beast. One of Devore's mining specialists cast a chunk of the creature's body into the campfire and sampled a piece. She vomited blood and died within heartbeats. He was glad he hadn't been awake for that. Whatever relief there was in knowing there was life on the planet ended right there. Omen's crew didn't number enough to sort out what was safe and what wasn't. They had to go home, regardless of the state of things, with the ship. Corson looked up into the morning sky, now streaked more by cirrus clouds than smoke. He hadn't told the others about the thing that had struck the viewport during the descent. What had he seen? Another predator? Probably. There was no point in bringing it up. Everyone was scared enough, and fear led to anger. The Sith understood this. They made use of it, but uncontrolled. It wasn't doing them any good. The sun hadn't even set before lightsabers came out again in a dispute over a food pack. One less red Sith. Not 20 standard hours since the crash, and things were starting to get basic. Tribal. Time had run out. Omen had come to rest in a small indentation down a short ways on the other side of a crest. Sky and ocean spread out ahead. The ship had stopped on the incline just in time, and there wasn't a flat plane left on the vehicle. The sight of his ship shattered on the alien rocks moved Corson only a little. He had known opponents, mainly captains in the Republic, who weren't sentimental about their commands. It wasn't the Sith way. Omen was a tool like any other, a blaster or lightsaber to be used and discarded, and while the ship's resilience had saved his life, it had been betrayed him first, not a thing to be forgiven. Still, it had purpose. Flying again was out of the question, but the sight of the metal tower just above the bridge gave him hope. The receiver would find the Republic's hyperspace beacons in an instant, telling Corson his location, and the ship's transmitter would tell the Sith where to find Omen, and more important, Lagan. Maybe not in time for the engagement at Kirik, but Sadao would want it nonetheless. Walking carefully over loose stones to the airlock, Corson tried not to think of the other possibility. If the Battle of Kirik was lost because Omen was lost, he would die, but he would die having completed his mission. A vial lay empty in Devore's open, quaking palm. Devore had somehow gotten to Omen first, and was sitting in the commander's chair. Well, slouching was more like it. "I see your cabin's intact," Corson said. He remembered Sela returning to the living quarters for little Jared. In a fire, you go for the thing you love. Okay, tune in next week for Chapter 3, Part 2.
Alright, and another great episode from Pseudo, our Galactic Librarian. Man. Yeah, so what we're going to do now is we're going to move into, I guess what I'll call the news. It's not all official news. We've got a nice collection of interesting links for you guys that will be in our show notes. Leonard, go ahead and play that beautiful music.
News time.
Here's your galactic news. Look what you missed while you were sleeping.
All right. So this week, we I had to go on, as one of our posters had told me, they're being more interactive on the forum. So I figured I'd go ahead and give that a check, and yeah, not so much. But as we were talking, it'd be nice if someone would set up some community events. And of course, the devs did drop us a little bit of information this week via their Facebook post. For the update on class changes, balance, and in-game updates for 1.4, which is the ever-present, hopefully here soon, Terror from Beyond and free-to-play Double Down patches. As far as that goes, I'm gonna rebuff what we've talked about as far as what we've been told about the Terror from Beyond dev update from August 30th. And then we'll touch base on the developer class changes and balance thing, and then the community forums, see what everybody has to say. All right, the Terror from Beyond, of course, is going to give us a new operation. It's going to give us a new planet, and with any luck, we will finally be able to see our newest playable race, the Cathar.
The Jawa.
The Jawa would be a fun playable race. I would like to see that, but I'll touch on that in a little bit. And then, of course, the explosive conflict, gauntlet-style approach to a final boss will be interesting. I think the idea of, death from the other side of a rift would be interesting. I think I might have seen that in another game. Don't recall which one. I remember there being a rift.
Death from another side of a rift. What would that...
they came through...
does sound familiar. Rifts.
Damn, wish I could remember. Yeah,
anyway.
And then there's the rifts, and then I've seen things coming through big gigantic world gates too.
Yeah, like rifts. Yeah.
Like there was this one I can't remember the name. It was called AQ something or other. Another game. But we'll see. I'm as we say, we're not huge guys. We're not big on the lore all the time. We're reading the books based on what we've got here. And obviously, no movie has touched on any of the mythology that they're bringing into the game.
No. But there is the end of this month, I think, is starting a new season of Star Wars, the Clone Wars. So
new Clone Wars and Detours is going to
be Detours. I cannot wait for that. That looks so good.
And according to what I remember, there's also supposed to be a new book, a new Star Wars The Old Republic based book that's supposed to be coming out this holiday season as well. So maybe that book will help shine a little bit of light onto the story here. Excuse me. Good God.
Goodness. Ricola.
Shit. The only thing I didn't get was cough drops. Probably should have thought of that one. But we did have some class changes and balance updates. The wife's mouthing to me that I don't like cough drops. Shut up! I'm recording, woman.
Hello.
And this is interesting. This post actually part of the update probably came from the majority of the devs, but this one is from your buddy Austin Peckinpah.
Hey,
another nice page size game news here. It says, "Hello again. My name is Austin Peckinpah, and I'm the senior designer of Star Wars: The Old Republic. My job here is to create, maintain, balance class gameplay in the Old Republic. As such, I'm here to shed some light on upcoming changes to classes in Game Update 1.4 to give you a sense of what's to come and why it's coming." Not even touching that. Too easy. For Game Update 1.4, we wanted to address several key issues with gameplay usability and balance. Foremost among these are adjustments to crowd control, the resolve system, and the subsequent class changes made to harmonize with those control adjustments and re-evaluation of stealth spec gameplay. So, in here he says, Our goal with crowd control in Old Republic is to provide abilities that allow the player to take control of a fight, turn the tables, or feel great for taking charge. We know that this can be improved, so I want to explain the philosophy and our motivation for the change before going into detail about the changes themselves. Oh, well, thank you for telling us the philosophy.
What is your motivation?
What is your motivation? So that we can gank you with any character we want to. That's their motivation.
So we can start screwing with character trays. Yay!
Prior to Game Update 1.4, it was simple to control a target from great distance and do so instantly, often as a surprise opener from an unseen location off screen. The way control abilities were designed encouraged this behavior, and the resulting gameplay could be frustrating. No. In 1.4, we've made adjustments to the range of the control abilities under the new philosophy. We want control to be something more readable and more predictable and less chaotic in effect. To achieve that, control needs to require a setup, an activation time, or be close range, such that the controller must overextend or broadcast their intentions in some way. In Game Update 1.4, you'll notice the following changes. Electro Dart and Cryo Grenade have a 10-meter range. Electrocute, Force Stun have a 10-meter range. Whirlwind and Force Lift will have an activation time and still have a 30-meter range. Plasma Probe and Incendiary Grenade still have an effect and still have a 30-meter range. Still require an effect and still require a 30-meter range. Mind Trap, Mind Maze, Sleep Dart, and Tranquilizer Dart still require stealth and have a 10-meter range. Dirty Kick and Debilitate have a 4-meter range and still have the shortest stun cooldown in the game. You know, those two things you like, the multiple stuns that keep you stunned forever, I believe you call
they
it.
have the shortest cooldown in the game. In other words, none. Also, what's with this? It needs an activation time. Whirlwind still takes 3 seconds to cast. So
Right.
What's this activation time? Are they making
That would be the activation time.
Are they making so they're not changing Whirlwind or anything similar at all, because it still can be activated at 30 meters and it has a 2 or 3 second cast. So they're not changing anything on that. The only thing it sounds like that they're changing is you have to be within knockback distance to stun somebody.
Right.
Which kind of kills the electrocute and those other short stun abilities altogether if you're attacking somebody that has knockback, which is
Well, and the knockbacks, oddly enough, have a longer cooldown than a lot of the stun abilities.
right. So you can
Which for a tank, you're not going to get you're not going to be able to knock them back and break stun fast enough in some cases.
Sounds like they're
Flashbang,
fucking with shit. I don't like that.
well, we'll have to see how it comes out. I don't doubt that they're fucking with shit, but unfortunately, they fucked with a lot of shit in other games that we've played, and some have made us feel better, and others have made us feel worse.
Look up the names of these new developers that they've got, new mechanics developers that they've got, and see if any of them have come over from Blizzard.
Ooh, don't say that. That's bad. Flashbang and Flash Grenade still have a 30-meter range, and are exceptions to this philosophy as they provide essential gameplay for snipers and gunslingers.
Yep. We don't want to take any other stuns away from them guys, because God, they don't have any, you know. Turn on your mic.
There we go. All right. In addition, while Overload and Force Wave make great escape abilities, they have done so previously at the cost of overall PvP experience. What we want for these abilities is to create distance between you and your targets, but what frequently occurs is a bad experience for incidental nearby enemies that aren't your intended targets. Jet Boost and Concussion Charge have similarly behave similarly, but they are limited to Merc and Commando. Changing them has less effective impact on the game, and those advanced classes play better with stronger ability on a longer cooldown.
Huh?
Okay, well, let me read the subnote here. It says, Overload and Force Wave have been redesigned. These abilities now knock back all targets within a 15-meter radius, 15 meters, 120-degree cone in front of you. So instead of being like a complete 360 knockback, it's knocking the people in front of you the fuck away.
That's going to fuck up PvP.
That's going to be interesting for PvP. That's a lot more people in the fire, a lot more people in flame pits.
That's a lot less effective as well.
Well,
because, like, for instance, if you go in and somebody's planting the bomb,
yeah,
and that's one of the things I do is I leap in, then hit my knockback, and it blows anybody and everybody away from the door. But if I leap in at somebody, and I'm facing the door and hit knockback,
with the cone, it'll add.
It doesn't do a damn thing. It won't knock anybody back because I'm right there at the door. I have to actually face a group and hope the hell they don't move so that it's.
Let's see. It says, furthermore, these abilities now knock back all targets instantly. They no longer wait for the animation note at the end of the ability, so you don't actually. When you knock people back, they just fly back. They fly backwards, I suppose. Well, see, I can see this being a plus minus because in things like Hutball, where you're trying to knock people that are in front of you, into fire or into another direction, it's not going to knock everybody along the ramp and everybody along the sides into something else. It's knocking the one dude you're facing forward. I don't know.
No, see, and then you get killed by the guy that's standing behind you. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to just knock everybody away from you, regardless of what direction they happen to be? I mean, that's why I like my knockback. If you're up on the ramp, you just boom, and they don't care because people just go flying. And if someone is lucky enough to hit a box and stay on the ramp, then you've got one guy to deal with rather than the 240 degree of people that were still behind you, and you knock back one guy.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that cone knockback shit. That's just stupid. What kind of a dumb fucking idiot stupid thing is that?
Well, I mean, the Force Wave...
I know what it is. What it is. He was getting pissed by getting knocked back.
Someone was knocking back people behind him into the fire and shit.
Yep, we're going to change that.
Let's see. It says, we've also made adjustments to the resolve system in the game in Update 1.4. We've adjusted the gain logic of resolve such that simultaneously and overlapping control effects no longer linearly add together their resolve gain values. Instead, using crowd control ability on an already controlled target now applies reasonable resolve gains by comparing the incoming control effect, the greatest of the existing control effects. Whoa!
So in other words, if 3 people try to control you, as it is now, it stacks your resolve, no matter who. No,
right.
Yeah, right. But now what they're looking to do is, okay, this guy used whirlwind, this guy used stun, this guy used whatever, slow. So that's going to compare the 3. Oh man, I could just see a bunch of.
It's going to compare the 3, and the one that's the most powerful is the one that
which
or gives them the resolve boost. That'll be interesting.
That's going to be a nightmare.
Well, let's see. Well, the next one actually does cover some of what we were talking about. As a result of the resolve changes, unorganized teams will no longer pay huge penalties for overlapping control effects at critical moments. For example, it can be frustrating for players when pickup groups accidentally make a marauder immune to control because 2 or more teammates tried to stun him at once. While let's see, the resulting unstoppable wrecking ball that the attacker transforms into made for a pretty poor experience for players trying to escape him. Additionally, we do not like when a Hutball carrier gets fed full resolve by a disorganized pickup group trying to stop him from scoring by simultaneously landing multiple control effects. So that's something that you and I have seen.
Yeah, I know that. I understand that, and I can see where that might be frustrating, but that's part of the game. I mean, so now it's gonna be okay. My resolve bar is full, but I can still be stunned because somebody's using something different.
No, what they're saying is instead of giving someone a full resolve bar, and making them impervious to stun effects, instead of that, it'll gauge it. Like if he gets hit with one stun, that stun releases, the next stun takes over. Is what I'm how I'm reading it.
Yeah, well, I think they should just get rid of the resolve bar altogether. If he gets stunned, he gets stunned. If somebody else tries to stun him, it goes off the first stun. It'd be more like an immune. Okay, if I'm stunned, I can't be stunned again. If I'm knocked out cold, I can't be knocked out cold again until I'm awake. So if you get stunned or slowed, if you get slowed, that's different. If you get slowed and you're running slow, and then you get stunned, you're stopped. Or if you're in a CC position where you're whirlwind or levit, you're being force choked. That's a completely different effect on you. So if someone tries to hit you with slow and you're slowed, that slow timer is ticking down, and then somebody else hits you with slow. It's just immune. You're immune to it, so it didn't do anything. So the first slow is the only effect. That would work better than how it is now, where it stacks. It just keeps, which is where you end up in a stun lock, because you get stunned, 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 and you can't move because they keep stacking on top of each other.
Right.
So maybe what I just explained is what they're looking to try to do. I don't.
They're trying to work,
which would be fine.
Yeah,
that would be fine, because I slowed his ass. Well, I'll stun him. That's different. But if everybody tries to stun it at once, well, the first stun that hit him is the only one that affects him, and the rest are it just bounces off of him, essentially.
Right. As glad as I am to see some of these notes, I would like to see them put the PTS up so we could test these notes more than anything, because the PTS is still down.
Too complicated to run.
Apparently, they're still working on the math.
Come on, I want to play with my 4 lanyards I have on that thing.
I want to get on Nagajalokia's twin sister, who does nothing but shoot lightning out of her butt.
Awesome. She just turns around and goes.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
Let's see. Ability changes. It says we're confident that these changes. Brown lightning. Oh my God, that'll be a great Cathar name. Brown lightning. We're confident that these changes create a predictable, readable, and ultimately enjoyable PvP experience. However, none of these changes are possible without extra addressing the holes introduced to the existing gameplay, obviously reducing the range of stuns and turning Overload and Force Wave into cones demands some buffs to classes that relied on those abilities to escape attackers. So they're going to work on ways to fix the fact that they're breaking something, which I find odd.
Well, it's working fine now, but we want to change it to because I don't like it, and if we change it, that's going to fuck shit up. So now we're going to have to fix the stuff that we broke by trying to fix what was already working just fine.
But one thing I'm going to definitely make sure I point out, they've said this several times.
They've got Blizzard people working there.
They've said this several times. I do not like it. It's the changes create a more predictable and readable.
I don't want predictable.
Life
PvP. Is not predictable.
The whole fun of PvP is
it's not predictable.
That's a bam right in the face type of shit. And I'll admit, when I'm on the receiving end, it's definitely not that much fun for me. But it's part of what causes you to have to learn your class and learn to play your game.
That's right.
I mean, that's something that you and I've advocated. No matter how bad we get stomped, on a regular basis, we go, fuck, that guy can play.
Yeah. Well, either that or it's like, okay, I need to avoid those fuckers, or change my ability on him. I need to change my attack. I can't go in up against an operative, basically on any of my tunes, fisticuff. I can't do it because he'll just stun me to death.
Right.
So I have to change my approach. I have to keep him at range. I have to keep him off his feet. I have to keep him away. Or just avoid his ass. A marauder, he leaps in, starts swinging. I knock him back and slow him down, keep him at range. That's my ability. Now, if you sit there and go, well, we need to make it more predictable and more fair and more, fuck you. What the hell is this shit, man? Stop fixing your fucking game.
Yeah,
Fix the shit that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, fix the shit we've been bitching about.
The mechanics are working fine. I mean, all you gotta do is adapt to the mechanics. Fix the other shit. Fix the looking for group, putting you in as a healer when you're not a fucking healer.
Well, let's take a deep breath and let's take a look at the supposed changes that are going to fix the things that they're augmenting. This is under Mercs and Commandos. Mercs and Commandos have a 30-meter interrupt, a disabling shot. The ability interrupts the target's current action and prevents the ability from being used for the next 4 seconds. This ability can be trained at level 18.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which is a new shot. I don't believe I have it on either one of my characters. I have something which
what's it called?
Is nothing. It's an interrupt. It's called disabling shot.
Yeah, my trooper has it, but I've
never seen that on my Merc.
I didn't get it.
I don't have a single interrupt on my Merc.
Actually, no, wait. My trooper doesn't have an interrupt either, but that's because the tree I went up doesn't have interrupts on it. So
that's just it, though. My Merc doesn't either. All my interrupts aren't like that. Because during the Lost Isle, that was the complaints. I have a shock, but shocks are not interrupts. It's a stun.
Yeah.
I have concussive shock.
It does interrupt.
Just that, but it doesn't interrupt on a boss fight. So
right, well, like my knockbacks will interrupt too, but again, you're right. It doesn't. Well, most of the fucking boss fights you can't interrupt anyway, unless it says so. By the way, but you have to read the buffs on the boss to know.
The other ability is Afterburners and Concussive Force. Rocket Punch and Stock Strike now immobilize targets for 4 seconds instead of knocking them back. Damage caused after 2 seconds ends the effect.
So that was actually an ability that you could train into on your tree.
Right.
So now they're just making it part of the ability.
Making it a stun as opposed to a knockback if you spec into it that direction.
That's fine. That'll work.
Yeah. The knockback previously caused by the skill generated enough resolve that it was actually detrimental to Mercs and Commandos' ability to further escape their attacker. So now instead of knocking them back and adding to the resolve that way, it'll stun them and you can still run away. So
as long as they don't get damaged, as long as nobody else hits them within 2 seconds.
Questionable in PvP.
Yeah.
Let's see, Tracer Lock, Barrel Charge. Now each stack additionally reduces the activation time of your next health scan or advanced medical probe by 20% per stack. I don't heal on mine anymore, so I don't know how Tracer Lock or Barrel Charge would change that at all.
Nice.
Or how that would be beneficial.
Makes it so that you can heal instantly. You can heal a little fast. You can hit that and then heal real quick rather than because some of the because the normal cast time for those is pretty long. So now, as long as you get the stacks up, it shortens the time that you can cast your heal. So that's kind of
and it's just weird because I use Tracer spam on my character. I don't even bother with it. I would like to hear the reduction in time in Tracer spam or Tracer shot, but
yeah.
Still plenty of time apparently. Other items, let's see. Kolto residue now additionally snares. Enemies struck by Kolto missile or Kolto bomb by 50% for 3 seconds. So if someone runs through your healing bomb, they're snared.
Or if you're
what a weird effect.
Well, I guess it kind of makes sense because now if someone's meleeing. Let's say someone melee is meleeing somebody that's range, you throw your Kolto bomb, you heal them, and then it snares the other person, slows them down, so that bitch can get away from who's attacking it.
Right.
I guess it's kind of cool. It's a double effect thing. It's kind of cool. I guess you could also just use it as a snare, like oh fuck, and then throw it at your enemy.
Right.
You're not healing anything, but you're slowing them down, so it's a kind of a double effect.
Snare them and then run through it. You get your little heals.
Right. And then run by and slap them on the ass and keep going.
Wow, that's going to have a druidy effect to it.
Yeah.
All right, as I try not to die from this call.
That PvP would be interesting, too, because then you can Kolto bomb a group of people, and all your buddies can get healed and get the fuck away from them.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Unless, of course, it's only an iconal effect.
No, I think this is still splash issue. Let's see, the new bodyguard and combat medic skill, or peacekeeper and frontline medic skill, have, while protected by your Kolto shield or trauma probe, which I used to use Kolto shield a lot, so I know what that's about. Mm-hmm. Firing rapid shots or hammer shot at an enemy target, your Kolto shield or trauma probe heals you on a separate 3-second rate limit. Huh? I'm a little confused.
Weight limit or rate limit?
Rate limit. R-A-T-E. Firing rapid shots. So you'll be healed faster, I would presume,
if you're using the shield.
If you're using the shield and shooting an enemy
with a specific attack.
Right. But it's something you'll have to spec into. So looks like bounty hunters and troopers are going to get their points refunded when this next patch drops.
Right. Make sure I take a screenshot.
No shit. All right, well, Sorks and Sages are going to be the last group that they're apparently augmenting before we talk about stealth. Now, under this, it says Force Speed now has a 20-second cooldown, down from 30 seconds for all Consulars and Inquisitors. So looks like we're going to be running that ball in even more often now. Oh, somebody's going to shit a biscuit over that one. New Sork and Sage ability, Unnatural Preservation, or Force Mend, for the Sages. It says heals yourself for a moderate amount, only usable on yourself, instant cooldown, costs no force, has a 30-second cooldown, trainable at 18. So you get a free heal that's instant, but they don't say. I want to know what moderate amount is, because that's questionable. I mean, and a 30-second cooldown on any heal, regardless of instant or otherwise, is ridiculously high cooldown. So
it's got to be a full. It's got to be like a bam. You're back to full health.
It's got to be like a 25% heal. It's
got to be a paladin style heal. What's that paladin?
Can I beacon of light myself, please?
Yeah, right.
Dark Resilience or Valiance now additionally increases the healing dealt by Unnatural Preservation and Force Mend, which is that heal we just heard about, for 15% per point. So hold on. That means that if you can use your Dark Resilience, okay, which I'm trying to remember what exactly that did. I'll Google it here as I'm reading through it. But you can spec into it and then get a 15% per point, okay, per fucking point. That means if they put 3 points in there,
15, 30, 45%.
Yeah. You could get almost a half a fucking heal off. I mean, that's more than enough time. That is a fucking win right there. That is a bomb that just got set. Dark Resilience is the ability through spec that reduces the health spent on consumption, which refunds your force.
That's that one that I don't use. That's the one I don't even train on because, yeah.
I don't use it that often, but I do use the sub-trait, the consumption, in regular.
Isn't consumption isn't that consumption? I thought consumption was the one that drained your life and gave you back force.
Right. So if you were to use your consumption, you could hit that for 45% of your health, assuming at the point of 1.4 they actually drop it in for a full 3 points. If they take it above 3 points, they might as well just remove that character. People cry about that. My Sorks being over.
Yeah, the Sorks are the paladins of SWTOR.
I mean, you've got a 10% 10-second cooldown reduction on Force Speed, which is an overpowered ability. You get a new ability that allows you to heal yourself instantly with no force cost, no cast time, with a 30-second cooldown. And then you get to spec into Dark Resilience or Valiance, depending on your side, for increased healing. So we're talking about something that could start off as a 10% heal, which would be very, very nominal, very reasonable. Then if you spec into it, now you will get 15, 30, 45 dropped on top of that. Holy shit.
It reminds me of those. It reminds me of those. I can't remember what spec it was, but there was a specific mage in Rift that you just could not kill. I mean, if you spec right, any damage you take as a mage, you get a percentage of that damage back as health. And then you have a bubble that prevents an X amount of damage, and then you dot yourself with a healing spec, and you literally could just beat the shit out of this mage, and the healing never fucking moved. Their health never moved.
It was sounds a lot like Disc Priest in Wrath, man. In Wrath at BC, it was the shit to be a Disc Priest. You would literally run around Warsong Gulch and just giggle at people as they tried to kill you.
Yeah,
bubble and heal, baby.
You were what do they call
Unstoppable.
that? Yeah, unkillable. Yeah.
Let's see. Fade Out or Egress has been redesigned. Now causes force speed to remove all root effects and grant immunity to roots and snares for the duration.
Yeah, but you have to make sure you bubble yourself.
Right.
If you don't, it doesn't work.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's
just using force speed though. That's just
using force speed.
Right. It's specking into Fade Out or Egress.
Oh, so if you hit great.
So if you hit force speed, you can't be stopped.
The one thing that you can use to slow those fuckers down from running the ball from one side to the other is a route, right? And now they said, now you can, as long as they're running fast, you can't stop them.
It says snares and roots, so you're not able to slow. You have to stop.
It's just gonna be a hut ball full of storks. It's gonna be like an NBA game. Whoever scores last wins.
Oh my God! It's gonna be like the Harlem Globetrotters versus everyone.
Fucking be stupid.
Polarity shift and mental alacrity now additionally grants immunity to interrupts for the duration. Improved the visual effects to demonstrate this effect. And then backlash or kinetic collapse. The incapacitation effect caused by the skill no longer breaks on damage. Okay. So, all right. Well, that is the end of those.
I guess the effect they could use for that force speed would make it look like you're like stretched and blurred, like a warp.
I want to run it back. I want me running backwards with the middle finger up. I want it to be a backwards dive that turns into a dance. That works for me. Like back in the early years of NFL before you got you got fined,
penalized for
the ball and went like this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm down for that. There you go, BioWare freebies. Not like you paid me for anything else you haven't fixed that I told you to. All right. Additionally, we have stealth gameplay adjustments prior to game update 1.4. Stealth classes and specs have had infiltrate and eliminate focus that effectively severed solo and small team gameplay, but the specs that focused on stealth, infiltration and deception, scrapper and concealment weren't valued very highly for group gameplay. In PvE, infiltration and deception's burst wasn't high valued, and scrapper and concealment were had difficulty moving quickly between targets. In PvP, the community has made it clear they want more stealth specs than lone wolf gameplay. In the case of infiltrate and deception, the specs fragility was of great great concern to many players, insofar as it didn't encourage the spec to contribute to lengthy fights or lend support to teammates. And they have a grouping of fixes on those as well.
In other words, they made this spec for a specific
For low
style, for a specific style of attack. It was go in, attack, get out.
Yep.
It was hit and run. That's what, and we even went over this a while back when it was in the Q&A.
Several Q&As ago.
Yep,
yeah.
They said, hey, listen, this is how it's made. This is what it's made for. If you don't like it, don't use it. Now, instead of sticking to their guns and saying, use it as we built it, they're, okay, fine, we'll make it so that you want to do it this way. It's like, why even build the game? They should just make it completely blank and then just have everybody else bitch and moan about how they want it. I want fluffy pillows. Okay, we're going to give you fluffy pillows.
Oh, man. And let's see. Well, under Scoundrels and Operatives, it says Disappearing Act and Cloaking Screen now have a 2-minute cooldown. So you're not going to be able to bash out like you used to, instantly fade out and then come back, poke somebody in the butt and then fade out again.
Yeah, that'll be until 1.4a, and people bitch about it.
Energy Screen has been renamed Ghost. Fight or Flight / Ghost, which is apparently what they're calling Disappearing Act and Cloaking Screen now, or Energy Screen,
yes,
whatever.
It's a PC thing?
I don't get that. Fight or Flight and Ghost. Now this skill finishes the cooldown of Sneak when you exit stealth mode. Furthermore, this skill allows Sneak to be used out of stealth mode, increasing movement speed by 50% for 6 seconds. This skill still removes the healing done and healing received penalty caused by Disappearing Act or Cloaking Screen. So you'll be able to get healed a little bit faster when you come out of stealth. Fleeing the scene, Advanced Cloaking now additionally reduces the cooldown of Sneak by 7.5 seconds per point. Now reduces the cooldown of Disappearing Act and Cloaking Screen by 15 seconds per point, down from 30 seconds per point. So it's kind of a nerf, kind of a buff nerf type of deal. So I guess not horrible, not great.
The only thing they're missing with those ops from a rogue is the ability to, the quick step behind people, whatever that was called.
Oh, Sweeping Strikes, I think.
No, it was the one where if you were stealth, you'd click the button and you were instantly behind that other person, and you could backstab them.
Oh, yeah, Shadow Step.
Shadow Step. That's
Shadow
the one thing
Step,
they're missing
yeah.
from Ops, because Rift had it too. In that, it's called something else, but it was freaking awesome, man.
Shadow Step was nice because you'd be in front of someone and you'd go right behind them and stab them in the ass.
Yeah, then you
backstab,
kidney shot, backstab.
Yeah, you were a mutilate rogue. I was.
Then you fake. What's that? Then you vanish.
Yeah.
Vanish, Shadow Step, because if you hit Vanish and then Shadow Step recools down, Shadow Step again, do it all over. It was so much fun.
Well, see, you were a mutilate rogue. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was a more burst damage. I wasn't. Yeah. I wasn't a stunlock rogue.
Yeah, you were useful. You were useful in raids. I was
useful for about the first 2 minutes of a raid, and then I was out of energy and
I'm just gonna sit over here for a minute.
Go smoke a doobie. I'll be back when my shit cools down.
Yeah.
Under Shadows and Assassins, Force Cloak now has a 2-minute cooldown. Infiltrate and Duplicity now when triggered, the next Shadow Strike or Maul deals 30% more damage at the cost and costs 75% less force. This cannot occur more than once every 15 seconds. Each rank after the first reduces the limit by 3 seconds, so you can get the cooldown reduced. Let's see, Celerity or Avoidance now additionally reduces the cooldown of force speed by 2.5 seconds per point. Masked Assault or Dark Swell now additionally finishes the cooldown of Blackout when you exit stealth mode.
Dark Swell and Blackout.
This is another one that reduced the amount of damage taken while active for 25 seconds. Fade now additionally reduces the damage taken from area effect by 15% per point. Kinetic Field and Entropic Field no longer provides this effect. Now reduces the cooldown of Force Cloak by 15 seconds per point, down from 30 seconds per point. So another kind of nerfish type of deal. Kinetic Field and Entropic Field has been redesigned. Now critical hits cause you to build kinetic and entropic field, increasing the damage reduction by 1% per point per stack, stacking up to 3 times. So depending on how many points you put in and how many stacks you build, 3 or 9%, so maybe a 10% increase in damage reduction. Let's see, Humbling Strike or Magnetism is now is a new skill, a new 1-point skill causes the target of your spinning kick or spike to be slowed by 70% for 3 seconds when the knockback effect ends. So you can knock somebody back, and then they have to walk slow for 3 seconds, and considerably slow. The 70% is almost, you might as well just turn off your sprint.
Just stop.
Yeah, sit there and pick your ass. Clairvoyant Strike and Voltic Slash, using Project or Shock, no longer consumes the buff provided by this ability. This change was made to better synergize the spinning strikes, assassinate during execute phases. That wraps up all of this stuff here. Peck and Paul does have a little leaving comment. As previously stated, the classes in Star Wars: The Old Republic will continue to undergo constant evaluation. Many future changes will be similar in scope and purpose to what I've described in this blog, to address usability issues, improve quality of life, and make most non-invasive changes we can to correct emerging balance issues. As far as any specifics go, nothing to the future game update is locked down well enough to comment on. However, I hope the information I could share with you today has helped shed some light on processes and motivations. Thanks to all of our players for your dedication and feedback. Austin Peck and Paul. So that is your cue, you guys. Get on the forums, bash his head against a wall, and tell him what you don't fucking want changed if you don't want things changed. There are some things I saw in there that I was interested in.
There was a couple things that were all right.
Mainly because I play the class, it's getting
all the good stuff.
Buff.
Yeah.
I mean, if they show me something on Juggernauts we're going to increase the visibility so that you can leap towards targets better, or you're going to be able to do your charge better. We're going to increase or reduce the radius of this, that, or the other. I don't see anything for me that hurts because I don't play a stealth class right now. I mean, my healer is kind of stealthy, but he's not there for poking people in the ass. He's for healing people. Yeah. So his stealth ability is kind of a joke. As far as the healing, I like the idea that a Koto bomb will slow a target. When you're healing, you don't really have a lot of majorly defensive moves. Yeah. You do have some shields, and if you're really lucky, there's a tank involved, and he'll shield you a little bit, and that does help, but it doesn't get you away from anybody faster. The conal effect of certain knockbacks, I do like in the effect of a healer, because 9 times out of 10 you have a tank or a marauder or a sentinel that is leaping at you, and that conal effect will knock him back. I would like to see them say that, yes, it's a conal effect. It's only going to focus on the people directly in front of you, but they get knocked back further. That would make me happier. Because at least at that point, I know that if I drop a Koto bomb underneath my feet, it's healing me and I can run the fuck away. I've knocked you back, and the guys coming from the sides or possibly from behind are going to get snared in that Koto bomb. That to me feels like leveling the playing field. Okay, we're going to give this conal, but now you have this. And that's what I'd like to see. Like, the guys in front of me get knocked the fuck on the other side of the node. Something to that effect would be nice. Now, we did say, other than everything else, the reading through that rather large and extensive section, we had some additional items. We were talking last week how we'd like to see a little bit more community-based information, some more trackable information. The folks on our actual server forum for Prophecy of the Five, and be sure to check your server forums, guys. It's a great way to keep up on community information and see what's going on in your neck of the woods. On the Prophecy of Five server forum, we have a topic called the Top PvP Warzone Stats. Now, it's not a proper stat tracker like you would normally hope for, and this is a continuation of an original thread started by Torm, but Army Town has the top Warzone stats where you can check out what they're listing as the record holders and be able to submit your own records as far as highest protection, highest damage, highest heals, most medals earned, so on and so forth. That one will be in the notes. It was actually kind of cool because some of the stuff, like, I never, ever thought I'd see, someone getting 1.5 million damage in a single run. I can't even figure out how the fuck that would get done. I've seen people that get 500,000 damage. I can only imagine that he's got everything figured out and tweaked just the way he wanted it to be. And they're from some of the guilds that we've talked about before: Casual, Brutalized, Hispanos. Some of them are just guys that are on their own. So if you're looking to recruit some of the heavy hitters before they officially release the actual ranked war zones, as far as what they will do in a contest format or a entire league for a season format, that's something to check into. Also ran into another great Prophecy of the Five post here. It was Bredwig, Bredeweg. His guild, the Avenging Dawn, is hosting a squad-based combat tournament over in the Outlaws' Den, the most underused part of our maps, short of the remaining, Ilum, where you have a PvP zone that is very underutilized. It's basically they're expecting 5-on-5 or complete group squads going out and killing each other in the Outlaws' Den. And everyone's they're not just doing this for fun; they're doing it for fun and profit, which is always the most important thing. Each participant drops in 150,000 credits. At the end of the fight, your faction representative will give you your portion based on the first, second, and third place teams. As they figure that people under 50 will show up. Anyone wanting to participate under 50, they're asking 25,000 credits. And your winnings will be divided up the same way.
So it's kind of a player based arenas.
Yeah.
Thing.
It's a 5-on-5, or they're saying 5-on-5. It looks like a 4-man thing, but they're going to have people working as referees that will be watching the war and making sure that there's nothing too suspicious going on, I guess you could say. It's actually really interesting.
In the den, though.
Yeah.
You could
kill everybody and anybody.
You could kill the referee if you don't like his call.
Yeah. Which is something I think speaks to every sportsman I've ever talked to. But we'll have the links to all these threads in our show notes on Facebook or on YouTube and on the Podomatic feed, as well as any other place you pick up our feed. And we're gonna finish the show off with a thread that we've talked about numerous times, a thing that we are excited for new species in the game, but there are lots and lots of thought on that. I've said I'd like to see the playable race of any one of the many varieties of Wookiee, but they've got the more species, not just Cathar, listing. Now, it's surprisingly one of the shorter threads I've run across, but oddly enough, it's still here, and some people are kind of back and forth on it. The Natalines, the Keldor, and of course this guy says whatever species Yoda was. There's a lot of interesting feedback to see what people are interested in putting in. One guy seemed very pissed off that Trandoshans weren't immediately picked up after they announced the Cathar, and was actually surprised that we didn't get the Trandoshans before the Cathar.
Which ones are those?
Trandoshans are like Quaison Fez, the lizards.
Oh yeah.
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 Those they're nearly humanoid, so there's next to no problems with mapping the gear.
Can't put the helmet on.
Right. I don't think I've never seen him wear a helmet, so that might be
no
issue.
helmet.
But the warping of the helmets might be helpful. But there's plenty of other I don't know, like Mira Lucas maybe, that can't wear a helmet either.
Shit.
So not a big detractor there. Let's see, the Falane, the Wookiees, Keldor, Grand, Nimodian, and Weequay, which I've never seen that. Weequays. Which one is that one?
Weequays. Oh, God. What are the Weequays?
Fucking ugly is what they are.
I forgot what they were.
Holy shit. They look like fire victims, or for...
the Weequays. Yeah. Yeah, they're the ones on, Hutta. The little Indian people.
Then apparently they've been in a few movies, too.
I was thinking, you were saying... Beck, we were talking about Brown Lightning. Instead, for your Cathar, you could make it Hot Chocolate's little plaything, and you could name her Brown Sugar.
Oh God, Brown Sugar or Marshmallow?
Marshmallow. Ah.
Oh.
No, there's already a Marshmallow on Prophecy of the Five.
Fuck.
Yeah, I saw him.
That sucks.
He's Marshmallow of the Marshmallow Legacy.
Wow.
I think his guild's name's Marshmallow.
Wow, so, yeah, wow. Jesus. But there's a nice thread on there, guys. They swore to us at the very beginning, and though they've fallen back on a few things, they've told us that they want to see what we think. One angry poster actually put on, I completely agree, and to that extent, I hate Cathar. Sai, come on. Definitely should have been the Trandoshans, implemented way before the stupid Cathar. Then after the Trandoshans, Wookiees, for us Trandoshan players to hunt Evil Laugh. Which, from what I read about the Trandoshans, having set up a quite lucrative harvesting slave camp on Kashyyyk,
yep.
of Wookiees, I can't argue.
They're Wookiee hunters.
Yeah. And Wookiees are apparently a great breed to hunt.
Yes. They get good fur. You can make. I mean, think of it. I mean, it takes nothing to make them into a coat. You just, slice up the middle, cut off the sides. It's already. I mean, you just skin it and it already fits. It's already got sleeves and everything.
Oh God, a 70s pimp jacket. But I think that Cathar is good. I'm hoping that they relent. I really am. I'm hoping they throw out 2 species.
They won't.
Well, they've relented on a bunch of other shit.
They won't.
We'll see. But I want to see. I'm glad to hear that they're releasing new news. I would like to see them actually drop in and say, okay, well, we've got this great stuff. Here's some of what we're doing in 1.4. Play with it. Let us know what can be fixed, what can be changed, what can be updated. His lanyard makes fun of the motorcycle driver behind my house. I want to see more of that. I want to see them break out the PTS, regardless of its state. Let us give it a shot, because it's the being able to play with what's coming out that's going to give us the ability to reinvigorate the people who are just like, okay, well, we came back from the server transfers, we are all condensed, and now everybody went back to playing Rift or League of Legends. Some of them went and started playing GW2.
Secret World.
Yeah, I haven't seen so many Secret World issues.
Yeah, I haven't.
I have seen a fair amount of people who said, yes, I was playing GW, and it's not as good as I was hoping.
That's because those are the people that get to log in. From what I understand, they're having major login issues. So,
yeah, and luckily I was seeing peaks of around 500 people roughly on the server when I was able to log in as I was sick. Today it's a weekday. Not many people are going to be on East Coast. Oddly enough, the West Coast is fucking banging right now. Almost every West Coast server was normal. What I'm actually seeing a lacking of is a lack of players on PvP servers.
There's no point.
Well, I don't know if there's no point. I think the main issue was people who were used to passive PvP on their old servers. They get into the super servers, and suddenly they were getting destroyed.
They couldn't walk anywhere.
So they probably just said, fuck it, re-rolled over on a PvE server. Now, we did have a couple of new people join our guild. And
did we ever get a hold of, what's-his-face? Fuzzy or whatever?
I haven't gotten a hold of Darth yet. And I haven't gotten a chance to whisper. I haven't gotten a chance to whisper the other one. But Jubu actually joined our Imperial or our Republic Guild, cool. And then we have our our UK buddy who joined us on the Imperial side. Right. Guys, we have Vent, and the easiest way to find out if we're playing is to jump on Vent.
Yeah, just get Vent. Yeah, just that's the best way to do it. Because it doesn't matter what side you're playing on. I mean, if you want to play your pub, great. Jump in Vent. We talk either way. And you might need help with something on your pub side. Say, we have no problem going, okay, just let me finish this up, and I'll hop over there now that I have a 50 and Nolani's 40.
Yeah. 40, yes.
So, we've got some higher levels. We can help out as well. So just and the Vent info is right there in the guild window.
On both sides.
On both sides. So all you got to do is fill it in and jump in and say hi. Just let us know who you are.
Yeah. And, Lanyard, I didn't even notice this. I invited Jubu to the guild, and I was playing with your ranks. I didn't even notice you had a fanboy rank.
Fanboy rank. Yep. Yeah. That was one rank, and I was like, hey, that's a good idea, because that way I don't have to put a damn note every time. I just put them in that, and then we know that they're fans of the guild. So.
But, guys, we want to thank you for joining us this week. I know it's probably a little shorter than usual, but...
All right.
Yeah, this week, hopefully Lanyard will get settled in his place. I should be up and over my cold, which at the same time, I was fucking Lanyard yawning all the time.
I'm dying here.
But hopefully next week we'll get a new episode from Joe. The wife will have a new episode. Since she's in Chapter 3, she'll be working on finishing Chapter 3, and then on to wherever she goes. With any luck, maybe someone else will drop in a new item or hit us up and let us know they want to be a part of the show or just a part of the guild. But until next time, guys, we'll see you in the pit.
I wasn't even ready yet. Hold on. There we go.
Thank you again for joining us here on Sith Talk. Lanyard and Dadakar look forward to talking with you next week. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Sith Talk, or stop by our Facebook page at facebook.com/Sith Talk. And of course, our Gmail is sithtalk@gmail.com. This music brought to you by freeplay.com. And remember, peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The Force shall free me.